Hello again, dear students, and welcome back to this session, which is a continuation of the last session. We were talking about the topic and how do we choose the right topic to write about it. We've talked about the topic, its features. It should not be very general. It should not be also a very limited one. And we have talked about two techniques used to uh, or help us to decide which is the best topic to write about. So we talked about the idea web and the brainstorming, and we also another technique which is the free writing. Free writing is something similar to the brainstorming. You just write what you have in your mind without thinking about it, and then you will check whether you have uh, written something good, so you will continue to write about it as a topic. Okay, so this is briefly what free writing is. Uh, I'm trying to go back to brainstorming because it is of a great importance as a technique used to decide or choose the right topic to write about. So here we have on page 10, we have the definition of brainstorming. Brainstorming is the process of free thinking and generating ideas. So you just generate ideas without being bound by restraints such as, is this a good or bad idea? Write down whatever comes to your mind, even if it is a silly idea. Who knows, this silly idea might give you the clue to come up with a good topic. So, as I've told you before, whatever comes into your mind, just mention that thing or this or that idea or topic into the paper. Do not think about it. Don't say that, oh, this is a very silly topic. I'm not going to include in my list. No, just mention it, and then you can later omit this uh, silly idea that you think about from your list. You have to write it, include it in the list, and then later you can read the list and decide whether this topic or this idea is a silly or a good one. Okay, just mention it at the beginning and then you can decide. So, this is the gist of brainstorming. This is the most important thing within the brainstorming. أهم شيء بالbrainstorming إنه لا تتوقف تفكر. أي شيء يجي في بالك اكتبه بالورقة، وبعد ذلك إذا تشوفه غير مفيد أو تافه أو إلى آخره ممكن إنه تحذفه من القائمة. There is no problem. Just mention the raw ideas. الأفكار اذكرها كما هي. This is regarding the brainstorming. As you can see the note here, in brainstorming, never look at the capital letters of the word never. Never think of or evaluate the topics that come to your mind before writing them down on the paper. So write them in the paper, in the list, and then later you can think about them. You can evaluate them. You can say whether these are silly or not. Just mention them at the beginning, and then later you can uh, think about them and check whether they were good or bad ones. This is the technique, and this is the essential part of this technique. It doesn't matter if some of your ideas are completely ridiculous. Even if you find them ridiculous, you can later omit them. Free writing, I've just mentioned the free writing. Just continue writing and then try to find something useful in the piece you have written. Here we have the main difference between idea web and brainstorming. In the idea web, we have a topic in the center and related topics that are written around it. عندنا موضوع محدد ومواضيع تتعلق به مكتوبة حواليه. لكن in brainstorming, in the list we can find some unrelated topics in our list. مثل ما تذكرون المثال بالمحاضرة السابقة لقينا شكسبير ولقينا الإقلاع عن التدخين بنفس القائمة. ماكو ترابط بين الإقلاع عن التدخين وشكسبير. مجرد أنه إجت فكرة في بالي فكتبتها، بعد ذلك أقرر هل هي تفيد عن الموضوع أو هل هي جيدة أو تخدمني أو لا. بعد ذلك أقرر وأما أبقيها أو أحذفها من القائمة. So this is the main difference between web, idea web and brainstorming. And both of them are techniques used to decide whether your topic is a good one or a bad one. This is an example of free writing. You can read it and have an idea what free writing is. The next thing is to narrow your topic. As I've told you in the previous lecture, that we might choose a topic that is a broad one, or we have chosen the topic that we think it is the best topic or the right topic. But when we start to search and read about it, we discover that this topic is a very broad one. So we have to narrow this topic or trim it down. بعض الأحيان تعتقد أنه هذا الموضوع جيد وملائم من حيث هل هو متوسع أو يشمل مواضيع أخرى أو لا. لكن بعد أن نقرأ ونجمع عنا معلومات نكتشف أنه هذا الموضوع غير ملائم لأن به تفرعات كبيرة جدا. فنحتاج شنو؟ نحتاج مو نترك هذا الموضوع إنما نحاول نحجمه نقلله. Okay? So how do we do that? شلون نسوي هاي الأمور؟ As you can see earlier, this chapter talked about avoiding topics that are too broad, such as the American Revolution, for example, is a very, very broad topic. We have to trim it down. Whether your teacher has given you a large general topic or you've decided on yourself, you will need a few strategies. So these are the strategies we are going to use to narrow a general topic. Okay, strategies for narrowing a general topic down. شنو التقنيات اللي نستخدمها أو الاستراتيجيات اللي نحجم بها أو نصغر بها الموضوع. Okay, let's see what are these strategies. Number one, ask questions. We have to ask questions regarding the topics. Begin by asking yourself questions about your general topic. For example, with the broad topic plants, you might ask. هنا نسأل أسئلة. نفترض أنه الموضوع شنو؟ plants, نباتات. What are the questions we have to ask? شنو هاي الأسئلة مثلش؟ How do plants grow? What do plants need? How do plants survive in the desert? What are some unusual kinds of plants? So these are the questions that will help us to trim down or narrow down the topic, which is a broad one. These questions could lead to topics such as plant life in the desert. يمكن من خلال هاي الأسئلة راح نتوصل إلى هذا التوبيك اللي هو مشابه لموضوعنا الرئيسي اللي هو plants، لكن هنا narrowed one فد موضوع ملائم وحجمه يعني ملائم للكتابة نقدر نكتب عنه ونغطيه ببيبر واحد. يعني بيبر من نقول بيبر يعني بحث وليس ورقة واحدة. Okay. Or another suggested topic, strange plants, for example. I'm not going to write about the plants in general, but I'm going to write about the strange plants only, or about the plants that live in the desert. Okay, so this is one of the ways or strategies to trim down the broad topic. The next one, make a pyramid chart. نسوي هذا المخطط الهرمي. Okay, in order to make the topic the right one. As you can see, نفس الموضوع اللي هو plants، لكن هذا very general. So we have divided it into two topics, and then each topic is divided into two topics as well. كما تشوفون الplants قسمناها إلى desert plants و rainforest plants, and then the desert plants is also divided into two kinds, and the rainforest plants also into two kinds. So out of these four topics, I can choose one instead of plants. بدل ما اختار البلانت اللي هو موضوع واسع جدا، ممكن اختار plants that live in trees، النباتات اللي تعيش على الأشجار وليس في الأرض يعني. Okay, so this is the right topic to choose and not the general one. مو تختار لي هذا اللي هو واسع جدا، لا اختار هذا اللي هو ملائم للكتابة عنه. So this is one of the strategies, the pyramid chart. Number 3, make a target diagram. Also a strategy. Follow it to trim down the, as you can see, we put the plan in the center and then write secondary titles so that we can trim the general topic and make it a short one. هذه أيضا تقنية من التقنيات أو الاستراتيجيات المستخدمة. طبعا هاي المطلوب هو تعرف التقنيات، مو شرط إنها تشرحها يعني. That's why they are not highlighted. بنشوفهم ما مضللها، لكن هاي التقنيات لازم تعرفها وتحفظها. So all these points regarding the topic and how do we choose the right topic or to trim down or narrow down the topic which was a broad one. هاي هي الطرق اللي من خلالها نختار الموضوع الملائم أو نحجم الموضوع إذا كان واسع جدا. The next thing we have to think about after deciding on the topic is to schedule your work. So you have to put an outlines and follow them. You have arranged your time to be able to accomplish your research paper on time. When we put the schedule, we will put the outlines, we will be able to know whether we are going to finish on time or not. لازم نخطط حتى نعرف إنه إيش قد نحتاج من الوقت حتى نكتب البيبر مالتنا. We need discipline to organize our work. نحتاج الخطة حتى تنظم عملنا. Okay, so as you can see, and as I have mentioned before, مثل ما تحدثنا مسبقا مثل ما تشوفون هنا, writing a research paper is a process that has stages. قلنا إنه عملية الكتابة، كتابة البحث فيها مراحل. Okay, as you can see, start by making a copy of the sample scheduling for appendix, leave this one. Then write in the last thing first, the due date. You have to think of the due date. Due date يعني وقت التسليم. شو كنت انت وقت التسليم؟ And you have to arrange your time according to the deadline. لازم تنظم وقتك وتعرف وقت التسليم حتى ما تتأخر عن التسليم. Work backward from there, estimating the time you will need for each task. You have to be aware of the time needed for each task. The task here means the stages you are going to pass through to write your paper. هاي طبعا هي الخطوات أو المراحل اللي تكتب فيها. The first one, as you can see, the numbers, researching and taking notes. This is the first stage. And then making an outline or a plan. This is the second one. Writing a first draft. Revising your first draft. And then preparing your final presentation. These are the steps you are going to pass it through to write your paper. So you have to think about them. You have to arrange your time, put this schedule into your mind in order to be able to accomplish the paper you are working on in the restricted time or in the time that is decided by your teacher or the university. As you can see here, research and writing a first draft will consume almost all the time you have to write your paper. We have just mentioned these steps or stages. ذكرنا هذه مثل ما تشوفون المرقمات number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These stages each has or each is given its due time. كل واحدة تحتاج إلى وقت محدد أو أن نخصص لها في الوقت حتى ننجزها. لكن as you can see, researching and writing a first draft will consume almost all the time. إذا الوقت كله وين راح يروح؟ researching و writing first draft. لأن طبعا راح ياخذ الوقت أكثر الوقت. So we have to put such things in our mind. لازم نفكر بهاي الأشياء خليها في بالنا. Writing a research paper is different, as I mentioned before, is different from other writing. يختلف. Why? Because we have to go and search, we have to collect information, we have to provide the necessary facts, the necessary examples, the supporting ideas needed to support what we have claimed in our paper. قلنا الكتابة كتابة البحث تحتاج إلى providing حتى نخلي فيها ندعمها بالأمثلة ندعمها بالحقائق آراء الآخرين. So all these things should be searched and brought from these sources and put together into the paper. لازم هاي الأشياء نروح نبحث عنها ونقرأ. فإذا الوقت كله أنا نروح بالقراءة والبحث to collect these details and put them together حتى نجمع هاي التفاصيل which is related to the topic and put them together. هاي التفاصيل اللي تخص الموضوع نجمعها ونضعها سوية. Okay. We have to think this way. لازم تكون تفكيرنا بهذه الطريقة. Here we have an example of the pyramid diagram. Okay. Practice finding a topic. Let's see what is needed here. Use a pyramid chart. استخدم البيراميد chart اللي هو اللوحة الهرمية أو الشارت الهرمي or a target diagram to narrow a general topic to a more manageable one. Start with a broad topic of your own choosing or use one of the following. أما تختار موضوع من عندك أو تختار one of these topics, for example, animals, space, music, prehistoric times, holidays, transportation. You can choose one of these or choose your own topic, broad topic. As you can see, all these are broad or general topics, so we have to trim them down or narrow them down by the pyramid chart. As you can see, here we have an example, as you can see, which is the transportation. We have taken this topic and made this pyramid chart to trim it down. As you can see, transportation in general is divided into public and private. Public transportation and private transportation. And then public transportation is divided into air, land, and sea transportation. The private is divided into bicycle and car. And then we also divided the air and land and sea transportation into smaller topics. For example, by air, we have a plane and helicopter. By land, we have buses and trains. And by sea, we have ships and boats, and so on. So we have trimmed the topic down to take a limited one, to take a topic that we can handle and write about. مثل ما تشوفون transportation النقل هو بصورة عامة موضوع very general. So we have divided it into smaller topics, and then we become able to choose the right one. يعني هنا قسمنا مشروطا للطائرات والهليكوبتر والباسز والtrains, so we can choose one of these topics to write about them. This is just an example. Okay, you can do any of these ones, choose one of them and make this pyramid chart, or choose your own topic to make a pyramid chart. أما تختار لواحدة من هذه المفردات أو المواضيع تسوي عليها مثال مثل هذا. طبعا transportation already done, not to try it. أو تختار موضوع من عندك وتسوي عليه هذه chart. Number 2, decide whether each of the following topics is too broad, too narrow, or just right for a term paper. If you are unsure, do a little search to find books or other material about the topic. أنا منطيني مجموعة من المواضيع and ask me to decide whether each of these ones is too general or too broad, too narrow, or right one. لازم نحدد كل موضوع هل هو عام وواسع جدا، أو هل هو محدد ولا يمكن الكتابة عنه too narrow، أو هل أن هذا الموضوع هو ملائم للكتابة عنه. Okay, so do these exercises, this one, the first one, and the second one, and send me your answers. As you can see, the history of the automobile, the cars, is the amazing human heart, Egyptian hieroglyphic writing, plants and animals of the Atlantic, European kings and queens. So if you are not sure, you can make or do some search to decide whether these topics are general, narrow, or just right. تقدر تبحث عنها إذا ما متأكد وتعرف هل هي ملائمة أو غير ملائمة، هل هي واسعة جدا أو محددة جدا لا يمكن الكتابة عنها، أو هل هي ملائمة للكتابة. So please do them and send me your answers. Thanks for listening. See you in another video. Goodbye.